the intro first, and then we're gonna go.
Thought about it. I thought about it, thought about it, thought about it.
Well. How's everybody doing on this Sunday emergency live edition of the We Want Houston podcast? I'm your host, Clayton Anderson, who covers the Houston Texans for Tour Times of the Fan Side Network. Shout out A-Sound Rundown. Today with me, I got Mr. Third Coast Tom up in here joining me right now from the Bullpen podcast alongside James Roy. Tom, what's up, man?
Happy to be finally on the show. Love what you're doing with Toro Times. Love what you're doing with the Texans. You've been killing it for a while, and I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk some sports.
Oh, absolutely, man. So yeah, man. Absolutely, bro. Look, training camp is happening. Footballs are flying everywhere. Speaking of training camp, speaking of footballs, I wish I had that DJ sound effect for breaking news. So let's just pretend I had it. So, Tom, I got it right here. According to multiple reports now, our guys back home, Jadeveon Clowney, the Houston Texans' former 2014 first overall pick, has returned for what is this, like his 14th season, I believe, 13th, wait, 12th season, something like that. Anyway, math aside, man, our guy is home. Tom, what is your first reaction to this news?
Oh, it's amazing. I think it's exactly what a lot of fans were looking for that extra pass rusher that you needed to kind of fill the void that some of the guys that had played in the past for the Texans to be that veteran to come in to spell Will Anderson, to spell Daniil Hunter, and who better than Jadeveon Clowney, who cut his teeth here, started his career with Houston. I mean, it's everything that I think Texans fans could want. I mean, look at the jersey swap. It's immaculate. I think it just makes that defense, which is already, one of the most feared in the league, if not the most feared in the league, that much better.
Hey, well said. So again, we got to understand. Jadeveon Clowney, no, he's not a spring chicken, right? He's been in the league since 2014. He's bounced around the NFL. Coming back home, this will make his seventh total NFL team, which is fine. But according to what he told Aaron Wilson, KPRC2, he says, "quote I got a lot of juice left in the tank." Right, and if you look at last season, he had the third most sacks of his career. I think what with 8.5, I believe. He was top five in pressure rate. So Jadeveon Clowney, and by the way, Tom, he did this stuff while only playing like 40 to 46% of the snaps on the season. So he was already like a limited snaps guy. He's not a spring chicken, but that's perfectly fine. If you're able to be top five in pressure rate generated and you're only playing like half the snaps that a normal person would, can you imagine how dominant this rotation is going to be, assuming health? You got Daniil on one side, right? And if you look, let me get this mic on. If you were at training camp with us yesterday morning, Daniil Hunter is still a monster. That hasn't stopped, right? You got Will on this side over here. You got Mario Edwards too. Don't forget, like he's back now too. You got Sheldon, you got Caden McDonald, and then you got Jadeveon Clowney, right? And again, you don't need him to be like 8.5, 12 sacks guy, but he gonna bring pressure. He gonna bring pressure, Tom. Like, whew. Oh, oh my goodness.
The pass rush
Yeah,
don't,
man.
don't stop. It just doesn't stop. When you all the
Hmm.
names you perfectly outlined, I mean, where's the break? Where's the rookie that you bring in?
Hmm. Hold on.
Because we got to find somewhere. Uh-oh, here come the belt. Here
Hold
come
on.
the belt.
Gotta take my belt off, man. Again, this was an emergency live. We had to do this real quick. See, this was gonna happen. See, this would happen when your child, you give your child that one last warning, right? Like, don't say nothing else. Don't say nothing else. In this context, it was don't let the Texans, who already had the best defense last year, get Clowney. And what y'all do? Hold on. Remember your dad used to do this? Hit you
Oh
with that right
yeah,
there?
it
Oh
was
yeah.
time when that happened.
Oh yeah.
We're not
Oh yeah.
talking about it no more.
Oh yeah. So let's. Oh, that's the perfect way to say that, Tom. We ain't talking about it no more. Do we understand? Jadeveon Clowney, like, look, and the whole rap on him was that he didn't have the raw sack numbers. I talked about this with it wasn't James. Oh, who did I talk to about this? Oh, was it I
Crescents.
forget. I forgot. No, fan battle. There you go. It was a Briggs with fan battle. We were talking about how Clowney didn't have the raw sack numbers. Right, that was kind of the one knock against him. But it's the fact that he had a high motor. The guy could create pressure. He's a run stopper. That's always been his thing. And you add this, like we were in search for an effective DN3 option, right? And we were talking about names from Von Miller to him to Cam Jordan. Like we just getting real silly. But this move right here makes the most sense and then I haven't seen the financials yet. I don't know. Have you seen it yet, Tom?
No,
Financials on
sir.
this?
I
Okay,
mean,
so
do
all
we
right.
care what he's making? Absolutely not. I
No.
whatever his bread is, that's his money, and that is totally good. I'm just glad he's back in a Texan uniform.
Brandon Hall, what's up, man? Yes, the rumor is true. If you're talking about Clowney, it is definitely true. Jadeveon Clowney is back. The news is broken. It's not a rumor anymore. It's proven fact. So there you go, man. I'm excited, man. This is delicious, man. Oh my goodness. And again, I also say this, Tom. Were you at? No, you weren't at training camp. So I was at training camp yesterday. Shout out H Town Rundown, AD, Harley, oh my goodness, fan battle once again. Like we were out there, man, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and watching that defense at work in person. We see it on game day, right? But for me though, seeing it in practice, seeing from play number one, snap number one, Daniil Hunter absolutely making lunch meat out of Ariante Ursary, right? Sacking CJ Stroud. Like that defense is already electric. Like they're making you earn every blade of grass you're going to get. And like you said, Tom, where's the break now? Because at first, like you could have Will and Daniil kind of get tired, gas them out a little bit. But now you got Clowney who can rotate in there and generate just as much pressure, if not more, depending on the play set. Oh my gosh. Oh, if you're the so Tom, let me ask you this. If you're the Buffalo Bills, right? Are you are you just like is that just are we confirming an L for them or we're gonna just stay reasonable in the middle? Like what we got there, week one?
I mean, week one's always tough, right? You got nervous juice. You got a lot. I mean, exactly. The expectations are there, so you hope that they put all that aside, come out and go right to work. But I mean, from like you said, like from a Buffalo standpoint, that's the last thing they wanted to hear is that that defense that they're already probably game planning for and struggling with now. You just added not one because I don't want to take anything away from bringing back Mario.
Yeah,
I
Mario,
I
yep.
think that's a great if we didn't get the Clowney news and we just got the Mario Edwards Jr. news, I would have still said that's a really good pickup. That's a guy that you
Mhm.
have to account for. Now you got to account for Jadeveon too. It's just like it's a lot.
You said it, man. So look, again, let me give Nick Casario some credit. You know why? Like I know that Nick Casario has taken it on the chin when it's come to offense and specifically offensive line, Tom. Like he's had to hear it. I know he has. He's a smart dude. They can say all they want to. We don't listen to the noise. You hear it. Like it leaks around. You see social media. People talk about it. They murmur. But I mean, the man, along with D'Amico Ryans and Matt Burke, but the man can build a defense. Like this man has been on a historic run since really 2022 when they got Derek Stingley, right? And he was, even back then, it was why didn't you get Sauce, all this stuff. And Derek Stingley looks like right now he's a better cornerback right now, right? Then you got the trade for Will Anderson Jr. You heard about that, right? Oh, he was overly aggressive. He gave up how much for Will? Oh, that's a waste of a trade and blah blah blah. Sure, second in defensive player of the year, and you might have like the top five player in football right now, right? After that, of course, you got the best collection of secondary, the best collection of secondary players probably at one time in franchise history. And Kalen Bullock, Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, and Jalen Petrie, Kamari Ramsey. The list goes on. You got Aziz El Shair, first Pro Bowl here in Houston, Texas, right now. You got Henry Toa, right? High motor guy here in Houston. And now you basically took, to use an Avengers reference, you got the time stone, right? You Thanos right now. You done run roughshod all over the earth. You done beat up Black Panther. You done punched Captain America in the face twice. You done brought Vision back from the dead and took the gem, put it in your hand, and now you got the fist balled up. Like, do so I don't think the league is ready. Again, assuming health, man. Like it's an exciting time, but health is the biggest equalizer. You know this, man. Like this team has been ravaged with injuries, for the last few years. But hopefully, man, it stays the same. But Tom, I'm gonna ask you this while we're still riding this wave here. Um, I mean, I forget. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. Do they do executive of the year in the NFL? Right? Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
okay, sure.
And Nick has been passed the last couple of years for that, regardless of the record, regardless of the depth that you spoke to and
Hmm.
all the
Hmm.
picks. And just to kind of jump on what you were talking about, all of
Yeah.
those guys that you named, they had warts that people were going, well, I don't know if Kamari last year is going to be good. He wasn't fast. I don't know if
Mm,
this is going to be. You got people now saying that Kamari, and I don't put any stock in it, but you have people out
mhm,
there legitimately saying that Kamari might be your best corner when a
mhm,
lot of people dogged the pick when they made it coming out of Georgia. So
mhm,
you can't say enough great things about what Nick Casario does. If you can't get executive of the year this year, I don't know what you're supposed to do. I don't know how better he can build a team. You just look at all the steps he's taken and trades he made. We talked about the Will Anderson trade. They said he made that trade, and the player that Will Anderson would have to be would have to be so great that it would
mhm,
never live up to the trade value. It would never live up to it.
mhm,
And all he's done is proven all Will Anderson has done is proven him right. Like, no, no, no.
mhm,
You definitely went out and got the player that you were supposed to get when you made that trade. So if Nick Casario doesn't win executive of the year, I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do.
mhm. Well said, man. I mean, look, outside of winning, there's not much you can do. Again, like I said, Nick Casario deserves his flowers for this. He's taken it and he's heard it about his offensive, players he's brought in, and somewhat rightfully so. We're still waiting on the O line, and we're still waiting on the offense and CJ and Nico and guys like that to really gel and to just be more of what we need for this team to win. But I mean, my goodness, when you're talking about taking your superpower and just making it even more dangerous, that's what you did today. The Texans grew a lot today, right? And it's like I would be willing to check the odds boards. I don't have it up right now, but I would want to see like how do these moves affect the odds on the Texans, being Super Bowl favorites. I don't know. And what this also does too, man, like it has that residual effect. Now you're asking even less of the offense now, right? Not to say that they can't do it, but when you make moves like this, what you're saying is, listen, we know who we are, we know what our strengths are, and we know what we're still working on. All we ask, Nick Caley, CJ, Demo, Woody, Nico, all you guys, don't crash the car. That's literally don't crash. We're handing you the keys to a Lamborghini, right? Like, do not crash the car. So let me ask you this, Tom. Kind of final. I keep saying final questions, but they just keep coming to me. So now, if you had to pick like a ranking statistically, do you think at this point now could a top 10 to top 12 offense get you a Super Bowl, or do you think they need to be definitively top 10 and better?
That's the old adage, right? No, normally you go and you look at Super Bowl winners, they're top five offense, top five defense, top 10 offense, top 10 defense. I mean, this defense has a chance to be so historic. You have a lot of people want to refer to the Texans, and it's kind of in jest, kind of jokingly, that
Mhm.
Baltimore Raven team that won it all with I can't remember the guy. He
Oh,
was an
Trent
analyst for
Dilfer.
a while. Yeah, yeah, Trent Dilfer.
Yeah,
They're like, oh,
Dilfer. Yep.
all CJ has to be is Trent Dilfer, which I think is kind of disrespectful to CJ Stroud
Oh, it
because I
is.
think
It is. It is.
physically, the tools, gifted, he's superior to that. But when you look at this Texan team now, I think it's going to be a scenario where maybe they don't have to be a top 10 offense in the simple fact that they're not trying to crash the car. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They've came out already and said they want to run the football a lot. They built their team as such. We're not we're trying to take crashing the car out of the picture because we're just not going to give you the option to score points in bunches because we know that that defense is really superior. You really look at we talked about the additions. You think about it from a depth standpoint.
Yeah.
And we never want injuries ever, right? But it's part of the
Sure.
game.
Yep.
Say something happens, one of the edges get nicked up. Now,
Mhm.
where that third guy would normally be somebody that you don't know, a young guy, maybe 1, 2 years in the league, somebody that's bounced around a little bit,
Mhm.
had some success, but we're trying to give him a new change of scenery. Now it's
Mhm.
Jadeveon Clowney, who, like you spoke to, had a really solid season last year in a limited amount of snaps.
Mhm.
That's not something you want to game plan for. I just think what they've done this offseason, it's going to be really tough to beat this Texan team week in and week out.
Mhm. See, and listen, man, to kind of go back to training camp for a second. It's training camp. Let's preface, right? The Texans offense when CJ was not getting sacked, which was rare. When a quarterback was not getting picked off, cough Davis Mills. What they were able to do in spots was like an intermediate pass to the right sideline to Dalton Schultz, right? Shifty run by David Montgomery here, Woody Marks there. Flat route to Jawar Jordan. He gets shifty, climbs the secondary, and tries to do what he can, right? But this defense, man, like they'll give you one or two plays. That's fine. Do it again. And then do it again, right? Like this defense right here already makes you earn everything you get, right? But like you said, man, it's like they don't get beat twice the same way. Like they remind me of like if you're a fan of Superman, I don't know, like DC. There's a character called Doomsday, right? Where basically his thing is you can kill Doomsday like one way. Let's say like he drowns, but he'll come back, right? Be resurrected, and he can't die by drowning again. You got to find another way, right? So it's like, is this amoeba defense that just is so elite? They don't hide anything, right? At all. They just keep pounding you. And I guess that's kind of my point. Like, you're not going to beat them the same way twice. You're not. You might get a big run off. You will never do it again that game. You might get a deep pass to go. You will not do it again that game. Like you might get a short flat rod to go. Great. You are not going to do it again. Right. And they just like, and even if you get them once, this does this to quote D'Amico Ryans a little bit, right? This defense is designed to grind you out for 60 minutes. Right. You remember, bro, are you a fan of Brian Dawkins, former Eagle, Weapon X?
Mhm.
You remember there's been highlight promos played about him, but like his thing was there was a quote by was it Takeo Spikes, I think, where he was talking about Dawkins, right? And he was like, Dawkins would say something like, I want to see how much they want to play, right? And I think about that. Like I think about this Weapon X defense the Texans have, like this. All y'all are Brian Dawkins, and that they just want to see how much do you want to play, and you do this. Oh, it's yeah, man. Oh, this unfair, man. Uh, that's unfair. But anyway, look, we don't want to spend the whole time on it. We already spent about almost 20 minutes on this. You can tell we're excited about it. We do have some Astros to speak, and let me give you the background as to how we got to this point. So, Tom, like he is taking the initiative. I was being a little bit of a pity party guy, right? And I'll own it. I don't care. I'll own it. And Tom rolled up, right? He's like, basically, no, right? Like it's gonna be. I'm paraphrasing a bit, Tom. Basically, like it's not as bad as you think. We're overreacting, that kind of thing. And Tom has been consistently like on this win streak that we're gonna talk about. Every other game that they win is like, where are the sellers at now, right? Like what's going on now? We're the cockroaches of baseball. What we're doing now, that kind of thing. So Tom, listen, I'm gonna just turn it over to you, man. So just tell me this, man. How has it been as one of the only Astros fans who has not been like screaming self on the mountaintop? How does that look to you from your perspective?
I mean, it's been tough at times. I've been out there like for all the Game of Thrones watchers, when old boy Jon Snow pulls the sword out and he's got everybody
Mhm.
running at him. A lot of people are really quick to pull the plug. And this is a Texans podcast. We want Houston. I think it's a Houston podcast, but I think it's a Texans
Yep.
podcast first. Think about last season. Last season didn't start out so well. There was a lot of people mock draft season. My co-host
Yeah.
was borderline mock draft season. I'm like, look, pump your brakes, James. You
Yeah.
you got this elite defense. Obviously, the offense was going through some struggles. Give
Mhm.
it some time. This Astros team, I think on paper, you know, a lot of the pieces that we trust to get them to where they need to go, we're still
Mhm.
there. And the fact that people were just instantly, okay, it doesn't look good. Let's pull the
Mhm.
plug. I mean, for me, I watch every game. I really try to see both sides. I try to see where the problems are, what the issues are. This team was playing a really tough schedule early on, not a lot of days off. tons of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard for any team in any sport. Injuries, I mean, let's go to the Rockets. I got a Rockets hat on right now. Injuries when they happen, you talk about the playoffs. This is a team that looked really good in the regular season. Injuries happen to your star players. All of a sudden, we're not the team that we look like going in. The Astros were kind of the same way. You know, a lot of their pitching was hurt. Hunter Brown, who's probably unquestioned ace of the team, was hurt. Guy misses a
Mm-hmm.
ton of the season. They're having to find pitchers, and
Mm-hmm.
for a team that didn't have the depth to begin with, that's a lot to ask. But when you
Mm-hmm.
look at their schedule going into the second half, when you look at guys starting to get healthy, Hayden Wesneski, dude coming off of Tommy John, Ronel Blanco, dude coming off of Tommy John, Hunter Brown had a shoulder issue. Those are
Mm-hmm.
starters. Those are guys that are horses that you need to eat innings. You're talking about
Mm-hmm.
that has an impact on so much more of your team that your bullpen is now stretched. So all of these things play into themselves. And I'm like, look, if you can wait for this team to get right, nobody's
Mm-hmm.
running away. This is probably the most parity I've ever seen in a baseball season in a very long time. Because
Mm-hmm.
you look at a lot of the other divisions, you look at a lot of the other teams. Who are you afraid of? Who are you looking at going, well, other than the Dodgers, of course, because they spend billions upon billions of dollars to buy everybody's best player. In the American League, who are you afraid of? And 2019 will show you the Astros have probably had one of the greatest assembled teams ever
Mm-hmm.
to win or ever to play in a season. They didn't win the
Mm-hmm.
chip that year because a
Yep.
red hot Washington national team came into the World Series and put it together for 7 games. Who's to say that the Stros can't do that? All you got to do is have a chip in a chair to steal a poker reference. So for me, I'm a little bit of a diehard, a little bit of a
Mm-hmm.
eternal optimist. Uh,
Yeah.
James will say that too when we sit down with our Texans talks or whatever. I want
Mm-hmm.
to see if there's a way to get my team to where I want to go versus just going, you know what? Let's start selling it. Let's shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's root for 2027. Who wants to do that? So I'm glad the Astros kind of proved me right a little bit. Uh, we'll get into it further. I mean, they're on the come up, and we'll see where it goes.
Oh, we got a lot to discuss on that, man. So real quick, I know we moved off of Texans, but I just want to reward the comment section for even joining, right? So let me just put this up here real quick. From Darren, he says this: do you feel like there is too much emphasis on resources going to the defense? Love the signing, but seems like offensive side gets scraps. Uh, Yes and no. So I get the premise of what you're asking, which is like, are we overdoing defense and neglecting the offense? I mean, if you go back to the off season, how we handle it this year, I mean, the offense has been invested in. Like this was a very meat and potatoes kind of off season where they built from the trenches outward. You got Keenan Rutledge, you got Marlon Klein, like you got David Montgomery. You're embracing more of this physical run based identity on the offensive side of the ball, right? And before this, like a lot of the problem was we were cycling out pieces that did not fit on the offense, like Shaq Masons and Kenny Greens and whatnot. So, I mean, yes and no. Nick Casario has been working on it, right? And again, this offseason, he's done his most at one time for the offense. So we just got to give it time to gel, right? Especially again, like Nick Haley being in the year number 2 and whatnot. Like it's just a lot of stuff like that. But when it comes to investing in your defense, that is your strength. That is you saying we know who we are, right? Like, and if you have if you have an opportunity to get better and to make your defense almost impenetrable, you're gonna do that 10 times out of 10, right? And I'm pretty sure they're not gonna let the offense fall to the wayside, but that's called coaching, right? This defense don't need to be coached up that much more. Like they will be, right? Because D'Amico's and Matt Burke, they got the thing on lock, but they're already there. The offense is trying to get to where they're trying to get to. But since the defense is already here, let's make it even harder to beat us over here. So it's a little bit of both, right? And then okay, and then Brandon, he asked this question: will Clowney be there tomorrow? Hey bro, listen, we don't know. We just helped to break the news. We have no idea. It'll be cool though. Shout out training camp. People who are gonna be there probably gonna be hyped up. They're probably gonna be asking. But all right, so let's all right, so we all for Clowney, man. We all for Marty Overs. We got to toss the Astros ball. And no, to your point, man. No, you're right, man. Look, I think a lot of our issue, and I'm speaking for myself in Houston. I think we are a very scarred sports city. I think that look, we're not Cleveland, right? We're not the Jets, right? But Houston has gone through so much itself to where it's hard for us to have nice things, Tom. It is like it. You know what Houston is like. Houston is that girl in a relationship. I'm sounding like Colin Coward, but Houston's that girl in a relationship that has been cheated on and mistreated for so long that when they finally get a nice person that they want to spend time with and be with, they don't trust it, right? So what do some women do? What do some men do? They call it self-sabotaging, where in their mind, so that you don't hurt me, I'm going to hurt you first, right? That's what it feels like Houstonians tend to do. We've been hurt so much, it's a defense mechanism, Tom. We don't necessarily try to, we don't want to be that way. It's just, especially with the Astros, where they have reached the mountaintop, Tom. They have won before, and we just don't know how to handle that. We don't know how to handle the come down from that kind of thing, amongst other things. So that's one thing. And then number two with it, I think also when you watch baseball with a football lens, you're gonna overreact. If you look at baseball from a basketball standpoint, you overreact because in football you only got 16 and 17 games. Really, truth be told, in football you have like 4 games before you're putting your season in the trash and you're rethinking things. Basketball, you got at least half a season, and even a little bit after that. Baseball, man, I just think it's hard sometimes, man. It's 162. Literally, it's like really 3 or 4 seasons of a smaller, professional sports league somewhere else. Like it's that long of a season, right? So sometimes it's just hard, right, to see things that way. You're right, especially if you're ultra competitive. Like you want to win every game. The fact is, you're not going to win every game. I think from my standpoint, I think my distrust has just been rooted in just, I would rather have my expectations in line with what the reality is, right? I don't like being told one thing, but then the on-field product says something else. And I'm talking about Dana Brown, talking about Joe Espada. I'm talking about the messaging out of the Houston Astros organization over the last couple of years, where it's like Officer Bar Brady out South Park. Nothing to see here. Keep it moving, that kind of thing. While it's a big dumpster fire over here, we're going to talk more about it. So let's just talk the positive for a second. So, as of late, our Houston Astros have been playing their best baseball. Since being swept by the Orioles out of the All Star break, which is July 17th through the 19th, they've been on a bit of a hot streak. They swept the Marlins. They took the series versus the White Sox, versus the winning White Sox, by the way. They swept the Angels. Excuse me. They moved Tetsuya Imai to the bullpen, which we're going to discuss that. Is Brian Abreu back? That's another thing that happened. And then, of course, they took the silver boot yesterday. And then I don't have the score in front of me on right now, but they took the series also versus the Rangers, and they might sweep today. I don't know. Last time I checked, the Rangers have tied the game. But yeah, man. So
Astros
that's
up
kind of
four
the
to three.
who.
Astros up 4-3.
Hey, there we go. What inning?
Seventh inning, Cam Smith singles, Taylor Trammell scores.
Okay, absolutely. That's what I like. That's what I like to see. There you go. Yeah, man, make them sellers. But yeah, man. So that's been the hot streak that they've been on. So in the middle of all that, it has not just been winning games, winning series, and sweeping opponents. They have made organizational moves along the way. So talking first about Tatsuya Imai, right? Report came out that Joe Espada, credit to Joe Espada, right? Who, like Casario, has taken it on the chin about criticisms on his character and like, is he too docile? Does he have hard conversations? I guess he did. He benched Tatsuya Imai. He put him in the bullpen and said, "Yeah, we can't really afford to have Tatsuya be unable to get out of 5 innings." But Tom, what do you think, man? I'm not going to ask you like right move, wrong move. Do you think? I mean, with Tatsuya being in the bullpen, does he stay there? Does he eventually work his way back to the starting lineup? Like, what do you think?
I think eventually he does work his way back to the starting lineup. I really look at this as a chance for him to kind of recalibrate. You look at what really plagues a lot of the starting pitchers, and it's their walks. They just walk way too many batters. They're top, I think it's top 5 in the league in walks,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just him. Mike Burrows suffered a similar situation where he wasn't able to get guys out, and they sent
Mm-hmm.
him down, and then they kind of worked him back into the rotation. So it's been one of those deals where I think a lot of it is some of his like it's not fair, but it's like converting into an MLB type player
Mm-hmm.
coming over from Japan. And this is something that the Astros haven't had to experience. And if you go back and you look, the Dodgers had a similar issue with one of their Japanese pitchers coming over and struggling early on to kind of
Mm-hmm.
find his footing. So I think this is a chance for them to kind of rein him in a little bit, figure out what he needs to kind of like focus on, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
just, all right, let's use the whole arsenal. Sometimes a lot of these guys, they come over to the Stros, and the Stros are able to like really be able to identify what it is they do well and just focus on that. Last year, if man, names are killing me right now, but they
Mm-hmm.
brought in a pitcher, or the year before last. I apologize. They brought in a pitcher from Toronto, and I can't think of his name right now. Asian pitcher. He's
Uh,
not with the Angels. Help
mhm.
me out.
Oh my goodness,
He
from the
they,
Blue Jays. Oh, because we traded Lou Profito over there.
exactly.
Who's Yusei Kikuchi?
Kikuchi, yes, thank you so much.
Mm,
Kikuchi was using a different pitch mix in Toronto that was failing him. He came to Houston.
mm,
They're like, look, you throw, and I forget exactly what the pitches were. I think it was like a cutter that he wasn't using that he should have been using, and all of a
mm,
sudden he became a different pitcher. And I think
right.
with what Tatsuya Mai has, I don't think it's his pitch mix per se, as it
Mm,
is. Okay, maybe he's just leaning on certain pitches too much, being too fine. Where it's like trust your stuff, command the zone, and use the defense behind you. I think he struggles to do that because he walks so many batters.
mm,
Hopefully it's much to do about nothing. I know a lot of people are concerned with the money that he's owed, but I believe his contract is set up where there's a team option so that they can get out of him relatively cheaply if for some reason it doesn't work. And I really just hope that he figures it out and then is thankful for the Astros for helping him figure it out, and he rewards them by not charging him. They're charging the Astros a fortune to keep him because I think pitching is some of the most expensive, hard uh, uh, players in any field to come by. You look across the league, everybody's looking for pitching all the time,
yep.
and the Astros are no different. And this is probably one of the first times where I've ever felt like this is the weakest the Astros have looked from a starting rotation standpoint because they swung and missed on Mike Burrows, because they swung and missed on Tatsuya Imai. So I'm really hoping that they can get them both right because they're both young, and it'll be something that they can build from instead of like, all right, now we got to scrap this and figure out a way to increase the production from the starting pitching because once they started to get quality starts from Lambert, from Hunter, from uh, Spencer Arrighetti before he went through his downturn, that's when you saw
Mhm,
this team kind of like get right. The beginning of the season, they just couldn't get starting pitching. They were hitting the ball all over the place, couldn't get starting
mhm,
pitching. So Tatsuya Imai gets right before the end of the season, and then you're adding a starter that you didn't have, you know, for a good portion of it.
mhm. Well, these are poor people problems, right? These are cockroach issues. If we were the Dodgers with endless pockets, we could just trade for friggin' prime Clayton Kershaw, something like that, or pay to resurrect Roger Clemens in his prime. Everybody can't get a Tariq Skubal, right? So there we go. Shots fired. Shout out to Brandon. No, man, listen, but that's called actual scouting. That's called actual like baseball conversation. We can't look, call it what you want to, man. Like it's a tale of two different economies in MLB. Like I'm saying that for a reason. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but the Astros are going through what many teams go through, which is actually having to develop, draft, scout, go get players, right? Actually work through issues, not just buy up everything. Like they're working with a guy who they've invested in, who has an option, who could hold them over a barrel. And they just want what's best for the team. And look, like I said, I look credit to Senior Larry. What's up? I don't know. Is what true? I put it in the comment section. But look, credit to the team, right? Like they're showing an urgency that arguably they have not shown in the last 2 years, right? Like they are not waiting around for guys to get right. Like they were doing that, but now like you can feel the pressure. Time is ticking. And like when you got guys like Javier in the bullpen now, LMJ Lance McCullers being traded to the Brewers, like who got eventually DFA. Like you got Peter Lambert, he survived, like he's making it, thankfully. But everybody else, not named Lambert and some other kind of name, has been DFA'd, has been traded, has been optioned, like all these things. And now Tatsuya Imai is in the bullpen. But at least Joe Espada said that he's shown enough to where Espada said he feels comfortable enough to keep him with the big club. He does not think that he should go down to Sugarland, which is fine because you got to be fair. Tetsuya has not been a complete disaster. He's just been very underwhelming for what you'd expect. Like for the team's first foray into the Japanese Asian market, it just sucks because we see the Shoheis, we see the unfair comparisons and the standards that we have in our minds. Like, oh, he's Asian, like he should be great. And no, he's been meh. He's shown flashes, he just meh, right? Stupid. So I got this stat
Quick
line up
update
there.
for everybody that's here and not watching the game. Appreciate all of y'all. The
Yep.
Stros are now up 7-3.
Ooh,
Jordan with a double, scores two more, top eight. I mean,
there we go. Man, it's a great day in Houston, man. It's just some of them days, man, where it's like, that's the part of fandom, man. Some days are a bit challenging, but days like this, where it's just like You're rolling in the wins. And I guess that's also why don't take days like this for granted, y'all. Please. Like Tom is trying to help us. He's trying to say, like, be grateful. This don't happen always, right? So I'm not gonna call the sweep, but okay, just get the brooms ready. But no, so here's on to Imai before we move on. Chandler Rome, credit Chandler Rome, always does great work with the athletic. This is on July 27th. He said this about Tetsuya. Man, what outing was this? I forget the team name. I'm sorry, but at this game, Tetsuya Imai has now failed to get out of the first inning in 3 of his 15 starts this season. So that by itself. So failed to get out of the first inning in 3 of his 15 total starts. He's thrown fewer than 5 innings 8 times. Right. So that is abysmal. That is not good. Really, that's what like a below average reliever would look like. So that kind of thing. I'm gonna read that one more time for those who cannot contextualize. Failed to get out of the first inning in 3 of his 15 starts. Okay, that is like what 200% of a chance every time. Like 1/5 of a chance he's not going to make it out of the first inning. That's not good. Thrown fewer than 5 innings 8 times. That is not good, right? For a team that has had almost I don't want to say no bullpen help, but I mean like Brian Abreu, Josh Hader's injuries, like a bullpen that could not afford to be out there longer than what they need to be out there for. You cannot have guys like Tetsuya who look, you want the best for him, but you can't have a guy as you're trying to compete for a pennant, as you're trying to scratch and claw your way back with every ounce of the fiber of your being. You can't have a guy coming in nuking your pitching rotation. Like that's horrendously bad. Like, and people got to understand in baseball, when you have a starter, it's already bad enough if a starter goes, let's say, Tom, 3, 4 innings, right? You can put a long reliever in there like Blue Ball or Javier, something like that, probably put a band aid on it, fine. When you're out in the first inning, second inning, that destroys 2 to 3 whole setups, and you got to hope, that you got guys who can eat innings the next day. And for this Astros team, they have not been able to find that. So that's really what's compounded everything. But again, we don't want to jump too much on Milo. We've already talked about it. So hope the best for him. So back to our positive checklist. So another thing that was mentioned besides just winning, Brian Abreu has been on a heater. So I got his stats right here. So in the month of July, Brian Abreu had his second best month of the season so far. His best coming in May when he had, let me see here, make sure I'm accurate. In May, he had a 1 ERA, a 1. In July, 1.64, right? 11 innings pitched, only 6 hits given up, 2 runs, 1 homer, which is beautiful. Only 3 walks throughout July. Excuse me. 14 strikeouts. What is this? 10 ground balls generated, 189 pitches total, and so on and so forth with a 1.64 ERA. Before that, coming into it from June, he had a 4.15 ERA. And yeah, so Brian Abreu, all that to say, has had a roller coaster of a 2026. A guy who's in a contract year also came in as a guy who you could squint Tom and argue that he could have been a closer on a number of teams before this season. I think Brian Abreu, like as hard as I've been on him, I think he has some of the best raw tools as a reliever in baseball. Like the man sits, he's one of those pitchers who just can comfortably throw triple digits, and it does not look like he throws it hard, right? That's what I like about Brian Abreu. But the problem for me, Tom, and I'll toss it over to you with Brian Abreu. Um, I just feel like he got in his head. I don't think it was like, did he have the talent or the stuff as we call it? I think with the slider he tried to put out there, and I just think there was a tailspin. I don't know. It just felt like he started overthinking and overcompensating. And it's like in football with punters and kickers. They call it the yips, where you can't explain it. It's just when you start messing up at such a specific job that you have, it's like you try to tweak it a little bit and you just overcorrect. And that's what it seems like happened to Brian Abreu. But it's a beautiful thing. Tom, what are your thoughts on just Brian Abreu crushing it in the month of July and what that projects out for the rest of the season?
It's huge. It's huge if he doesn't get traded. I know there was a rumor out not too long ago that the Astros had a deal in place. Um, I think it's funny that you brought up him being a closer because I think his struggles coincided with having to close while Josh Hader was not right early on in the season. It's a totally different monster to go from the eighth inning to the ninth inning, knowing that there's no one behind you and that it's your job to close the show. And I think
Mhm.
Brian Abreu struggled with that early, and it was something that he had to kind of work his way back. He got back to his setup role little by little. I mean, there was a time in the middle of the season where he was pitching in the fifth and sixth inning of games that were out of reach, which is something you would never see from Brian Abreu. Uh, but like we talked or like you talked about earlier, and I think something that a lot of fans struggle with just a lot. It's 162 games, and
Hmm.
there's so much time that can go between where a guy looks absolutely unplayable, unpayable to a must-have. And for this edition, Brian Abreu's that guy. Spencer Arrighetti was another guy. He was literally pitcher of the month, I think, in May, and then or maybe it was June. I can't. It was one of those. And then July happens, and he can't pitch to anyone. He's constantly struggling to get out of games. So it's a long season. I'm glad Brian Abreu's back to doing what we know he can do. That back end of the bullpen, if he's right with him and Hader, Hader hasn't, knock on wood, because I don't want to jinx anyone, hasn't given up a save, hasn't blown a save yet this season. He's been perfect, and that's just what you need for a team that doesn't necessarily bring you the best offense every night in, night out. Can score tons of runs, but then it has
Hmm.
nights when the big boppers aren't doing what they're accustomed to doing. You
Yep.
need that bullpen to be able to lock it down. And if Brian Abreu can be right, this is another point to go towards that. Why can't the Astros do it? Why not them?
You are absolutely right, sir. Let me see. And I actually have it right here. So this is from Mike Schwab. Mike Schwab. I'm sorry, I'm lying. I'm sorry. Jeremy Branham. I don't know why Schwab came to my mind. Jeremy Branham said this. He said, well, shoot, I don't know anymore. No, know about what? Larnog being the outfielder, left fielder that the Astros reportedly in on. He saw the social media report that the Houston Astros owner Jim Crane blocked the trade that would have sent reliever Brian Abreu to the Twins for Larnog. That offering Crane's role were accurate, a league source familiar with the situation told the Minnesota Star Tribune. So, Tom, you mentioned that there's a rumor. No, it wasn't a rumor. It was proven fact. That's exactly what happened. So I have it up right here. So Trevor Larnach, left fielder for the Minnesota Twins. So currently, right now in the 2026 season, 284 batting average, 9 homers. Let's see. Let me go up here. 9 homers. Let me make him big. There you go. 39 RBIs, 0.823 OPS. So right now he's killing it, man. He's doing a good job. Look, better than what a lot of what you have in the outfield right now. Oh my goodness, hold on. There we go. Better than what you have in the outfield in a lot of ways right now. Like we've had a lot of streaky players in the outfield offensively. Like Trammell has been on a bit of a heater. Cam Smith, he's been up and down. Speaking of roller coasters, Loperfito's been down enough from Sugarland to add to the big club. So we have Jake Myers. He's still in Sugarland. So the outfield has been just a carousel all season of just guys patchwork, and it brings down any 1 through 9 batting order when literally you have 2 to 3 outfielders who cannot consistently produce. Right, that's not even beginning to talk about Bryce Matthews and his struggles at the plate. So a guy like Larnock, like again, I'm looking at his stats. Excuse me, you know, 284, 9 homers, 39 RBIs, 823 OPS. I would take Larnock, but the problem is Jim Crane said no, right? Which will feed into our what we're going to talk about with Dana Brown. But so I would really like to see what really made Jim Crown slash the Astros front office nix this thing in the final hour. So Tom, I'm gonna ask you, man. So the surface level of the report is it was Brian Abreu on the table for Larnock, and there was a trade. Now we don't know what other prospects might have gone, but that was a trade, and apparently Jim Crane nixed that deal. So number one, are you in favor of the nixing of the deal based off of Abreu's recent turnaround, or and after that, two, does that spell disaster for Dana Brown as far as his long term future in Houston as general manager?
It's a really interesting question. It's so loaded. Obviously, we need to know the entire concept of the trade, right? If it was just a one for one, which it's all we have to go on right now, it's really interesting because Trevor Larnock's got an extra year of control. He's got another year of arbitration before he would become an unrestricted free agent. Where this is a contract year for Brian Abreu. I do believe, and this is just based on what we've kind of seen from Jim Crane with how he dealt with Verlander and some other pitching, that he has an affinity for pitching, which is not a bad thing. Like it's better to have too much pitching than not enough. In
Hmm.
any sense of the word, it's kind of like how we look at the Texans and their defense. I'd rather have more defense than not enough. And I think that if we're talking about Jim Crane nixing this deal, maybe that's why he did it. Obviously, we won't know uh, with that Tarek Skubal trade, a lot of people feel like next year is kind of in limbo. There's going to be a work stoppage so they can get a cap together. So
Mhm.
teams like the Dodgers and the Mets and the Yankees don't just take advantage of this situation where they can, play with monopoly money while everybody else has to have like a checkbook that they're balancing and like, we got to save 15 cents over here. So it'll be interesting to find out
Mm.
exactly how we got there. To me,
Mhm.
I'm glad they cut Brian Abreu
Mm.
if it was something like that. Like, hey,
Mhm.
we feel strongly about our ability to run. We need the bullpen depth. Who's going to replace Brian Abreu? Yeah,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
fix one, you plug one hole in the boat, but now
Make
you open
another
up
one.
another one.
Yeah.
So for me, I understand that logic. A lot of people just want to look at it like, oh, Jim Crane's stepping in the way of a GM again because there's been a history of that.
Yeah.
Um, but when he's the one that cuts the checks and he wants his
Mhm.
team, as he has said, as he has come out and said, as long as I'm here, the window will always be open. Those are his
Mhm.
words. This is him saying that doesn't open the window for him.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
I mean, for people that value pitching, it's legitimate. It doesn't help me to go get another dude that can hit if I can't
Mhm.
have somebody that can get outs.
Understandable. I like what you said, man. Basically, the point of making a trade is to fix a problem, not make more. You could argue that the problem, like the solution that you'd bring in to replace Abreu, would be far worse than the problem that you'd be theoretically sending out to get rid of Abreu. So again, we talked about it, right? Brian Abreu turning it around. That's basically like getting a pitching addition at the deadline anyway. With how electric his arm can be. So I'm fine with it. It is what it is. They've been doing just enough, so it's cool, right? Now, as far as Dana Brown's long term future, I just think when you already don't have financial backing for the next season, he's already a lame duck. Then of course you have reports out there from I think Bob Nightingale who said that it seemed like some executives believe that Jim Crane has already made up his mind, so that's probably not good. And now I see less of meddling and more of like Jim Crane probably just is like saying, "Nah, man, like we just not gonna do that." And like you said, we don't know exactly the nuts and bolts of the transaction that Jim Crane reportedly nicks, but if he did, it's significant. So again, I just think if you're Dana Brown, I mean, I don't know what to say, man. Look, you've had 3 years, and at this point now, look, Jim Crane, he has given him more than enough latitude to do what he needs to do for 3 years, right? This is not a dump on Dana Brown portion of the show. This is just trying to speak facts. Dana Brown has been given much latitude. This is the first one of the first few times I really have heard of Jim Crane stepping in to stop a Dana Brown transaction. So, but it is what it is. So then my follow up question, actually, real quick before you follow up, got some more notes about the Jadeveon Clowney thing. We cannot we keep trying to quit this, but it keeps bringing us back in. So just got this from our guy Aaron Wilson from KPRC2. He said this a few minutes ago. He got a quote from Clowney, and then right underneath that, Sports Talk 790 said it's a 1 year, $8 million deal. Quote, chasing a Super Bowl. Right. So there you go. Then going back to Aaron Wilson, quote, Jadeveon Clowney said, "I was looking forward to playing for D'Amico." Clowney said, which is always great. Pretty exciting coach to play for. I reached out to him and told him I wanted to play for him. So again, Clowney wanted this, right? That Clowney wanted to be here. This was not just the Texans outbidding other teams. This was Clowney saying, "Nah, I see a Super Bowl here. I want to play for that coach. I want to give, whatever kind of years I have left to trying to get this organization a championship." Right? That right there is like, oh, something special. Something that's special. Right? Oh my goodness, this is gonna be. I feel so bad, CJ. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm, I'm so sorry, Tay Ursery. I'm so sorry, Wyatt. I'm so sorry, O line. We'll look the other way. We'll,
Come on now. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. I love this for them. I love this for them.
we'll
This is the best defense in the league they get to go up against every
oh my
day in
goodness.
practice. You know what that's gonna feel like on Sundays when they're not coming like
Yeah,
that from
you're
the
right.
edge
Yeah,
with you know what I mean? That only iron sharpens iron, baby. I love this for the offense too. I think the more they get to see this defense, the better they're gonna be for it.
yeah. You're right, man. You're right. You're right. You're right.
I feel
Ooh,
bad for
Monday.
everybody else's offense.
Sure. Oh
That
yeah.
that that
Oh
it's
no, I
not
don't.
fair.
I don't.
It
I
you know,
don't.
this is
Listen.
as close to the Dodgers going out and getting a dude. And the contract,
Sure.
real quick,
Yeah.
we talk about the contract.
Mhm.
totally in line with what Nick Casario loves to do. The 1 year prove it deal
Yep.
is his bread and butter. I think it's
Mhm.
perfect. And you know what? That quote by Jadeveon's so great because you're
Mhm.
hearing it throughout the league. Everybody wants to play for D'Amico Ryans. And when people are like going, look, I'm not even entertaining these other teams because I want to be down in Houston. I want to rep the
Mhm.
H. Feels good.
It's a wonderful thing, man. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Look, I made an article, man, about see we back on the Texans again. Look, I'll just say this, we'll move on. I made an article about D'Amico Ryans, and I said in it for ToroTimes.com. Go check it out. I said D'Amico Ryans has a chance to truly, firmly solidify himself as the greatest coach in Texans history this season. Now, some, including myself, maybe, would already argue that stats would say that D'Amico already is that. And you can make that case. However, when I say definitively this year, I mean stamped it, no debate, no arguing, no, Gary Kubiak fondness, no Bill O'Brienness. Straight up, the best coach in Texans history, you can stamp it now, would be D'Amico Ryans. He already has the most playoff wins with three. He has the highest total winning percentage, I think, with 0.627 across regular season and postseason. He's a culture raiser. He's a floor raiser. He's a guy who's in shape enough to where he can probably give you a couple reps right now. The players love him. He's a player's coach while also being a guy who can tighten up his bootstraps, look you dead in your face, and ask you, "You good?" Right? Like, so that's him, man. So the fact that you got that kind of guy who's just a magnet of positivity, and you got players who want to be here, and not just like no disrespect, but like Udonis Haslam, guys who are just vets who are just kind of hanging out. Like, no, dudes who have a lot of juice left, guys who can actually play, who fit your scheme, who can dominate, and who want you specifically. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's an awesome thing. But we're done there, man. Stop sending us texts and stuff, man. We trying to we're gonna get there, bro. Look, we training camp tomorrow. I
I
hope
can do
Clowney's there.
Texans all day too. I mean, if y'all want to
I
keep
know,
coming,
man.
I'm not gonna tell you no. Clayton's got notes we got to follow. I'm here for it. But if we are gonna keep doing Texans, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you're right. It pays the bills. No, man. So, all right. So, kind of wrapping up on the Astros point of things. So, we ran through our whole rundown here. So, we're gonna kind of finish up on the on postseason as well as like trade deadline stuff. So, if you can give me like what would you do now at the trade deadline? Right? Like, okay, they want to be buyers, right? The Brian and Brady trade has been nixed. What is there to do at the trade deadline? If you're in the GM's chair, what do you think you're going after if there is a move to make?
So tough, man. It's there's a lot of good hit bats out there, but it's like, do you want to pay for them? Uh,
Yeah.
the for me, I think the pitching market is much smaller. So
Hmm.
I would, if it's me, I'd really try to go out there and get another starter. We talked about Imai. I talked
Hmm.
about Burrows. These are guys that, Javier now looks like he might be more destined for the bullpen. So you really start to look at that rotation and you're really
Hmm.
fearful that they don't have enough arms in it. So for me, a
Yeah.
guy like Casey Mize out of Detroit would be something that probably isn't the most expensive. There's you can dream of Sandy Alcantara, who's down in Miami. That I think that would be an amazing move. Uh, I think another rotation
Hmm.
piece is if it was me and I'm sitting in Dana's chair, and that's the most difficult chair to be in. Because while I loved your reference earlier about
Yeah.
the girlfriend, I think it's not fair to what the Astros have done for the city of Houston for the better part of a decade.
Mhm.
They've been the most loyal, faithful team that they could to you. They ain't broke your heart like you feel like the Texans have broke your heart. The Rocks have broke your heart. Uh, uh, uh,
Mhm.
the Dynamo it broke your heart. The Astros haven't done that. They said, "No, we're faithful, we're loyal. We're gonna be there at the end. I promise." And I feel like that's where the Astros are gonna be. I just wanted to piggyback
Mhm.
on that a little bit because I thought it was great. Um, I think a rotation guy would be what I would do,
Mm.
followed closely behind that outfielder, in the same mold as like a Trevor Larnach. I wouldn't give up Brian Abreu to do it unless you know for a
Mm.
fact you can replace him somewhere else, or you know for a
Mhm.
fact you're not going to resign him. That's
Yeah,
that's the thing that a lot of people are going to argue is that if you're not going to resign him, you got to move him.
sure. Yeah, I get it. Look, I think there's a time and a place to move a guy who's on a one, who's on his final year of your deal. You can't have it so black and white because then you lose a lot of talent that way. Guys who could theoretically resign, or it just doesn't work out for you. Like a Brian Abreu, like right now, you could justify not bringing him back, right? Like under this circumstance, you can justify not trading him because you're trying to give one last gasp to whatever this regime's appearance is going to be, you might as well keep Ron Abreu here. And it's because it's not like he would have netted you like, a super package anyway. So it's kind of one of those things. Now, if it's like oh, I don't know, heck, I don't know, Jeremy Pena, right? Let's say if he's not re-signing here, and you had the opportunity to commit to secure a franchise altering package, and he's not coming back, you kind of got to entertain that because of the haul that you can get back for Jeremy Pena. Brian Abreu does not really warrant that kind of haul, so you wouldn't really consider it that much. He helps you out more than he would hurt you, so you kind of let that go. As you were speaking, I had a name up here. You talked about pitching rotation. Could I interest you in the Detroit Tigers, Casey Mize? Could I interest you in that? A guy who, according to SI.com on the Astros trade targets, Mize has dealt with a few minor injuries this year, but when he's played, he's been excellent, posting a 2.7 ERA and a sub one ERA. If the Astros could get him, it would immediately bolster their pitching staff because, of course, and that is from our guy Matty Dickens of Houston Astros SI.com. What do you think about that move right there? If they can secure a Casey Mize?
Would love it. I think he's perfect for what they need. Another name that I would give you
Mhm.
is Kevin Gausman out of Toronto. I think that's another guy who they've had.
Mm.
Toronto and Houston have made multiple deals in the past,
They
so I
have,
could see
yeah.
them going there.
Yep.
His numbers aren't as sexy as Mize's, and I think that's a guy that you could maybe fix a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
I like the sound of either of those guys.
Appreciate you, MRJ62. Excellent show. Taylor Ward is who I'd go. Let me go back there. I don't know why they go off. Oh, I think it said for 10 seconds. Taylor Ward is who I'd go after. Tremel and Wade can give you some left-handed hitting. They have good roll. Yeah, I mean, again, look, Taylor Ward's the kind of move that I don't think it'd be a back-breaking kind of like price you'd have to pay to get him. So, there's that. But I think I saw a report today that said they don't want to pull from like their major league roster to get it, and I darn sure don't want to give you like a Kevin Alvarez or a Niens. Like, so that's a non-starter. So we got to figure something out. And if not, I mean, you can certainly justify. Look, this AL is historically poor. Like, this is a trash. This is as trash of an AL as you're ever going to see. There are only like two or three decent teams, being the Yankees and the Rays. Outside of that, everybody else is barely over 500. Um, including the Astros. But if you go back far enough, Astros actually have a better record, but whatever. So it's just if you want to settle with just hey, we can take the NL pennant. I think that's a win for you. Now you may not win a World Series with this, but if you can scratch and claw an ALCS out of this garbage, which is very feasible, hey, why not, right? But outside of that, though, man, trade deadline is going to be the deadline. That is tomorrow. So I guess you can count this emergency live also as kind of like our pre-deadline show, kind of talking through some things. The Astros are just in a very weird place, Tom, where they don't really have the assets to give out. And the ones that they do, like we mentioned, Alvarez, Nianza, Yola, guys like that, you don't want to give them away because your bullpen, I mean, not bullpen, I'm sorry, your farm system is just now starting to kind of replenish. So you don't want to do that, right? So at this point now, I think if you buy, it's going to be like somebody cheap, somebody who's like in the margins. I don't know if that's a ward or not, but maybe, like I said, my guy, Mize, maybe. But outside of that, I mean, I don't think you sell either. I think you're just in this holding pattern. I think you ride it out. You ride the hot hand. You look. You made it here, right? So if you can put the AL West in your rearview mirror and just continue to improve and really just focus on your pitching and more pitching, as they say, they have a more than 60% chance of being able to really contend in this mess of an AL that we have here. Outside of that, Tom, I mean, that's pretty much, all I got, man. Like between Jadeveon Clowney, Mario Edwards, Houston Astros, all these things going on, training camp, it's just a lot going on. We can keep talking about it, but we're already, at the hour mark. So I'm going to cut you loose here, man. But TCT, man. I really appreciate you, man. I really appreciate what you and James, what you guys do on your show. Watch you guys. So thank you so much for contributing to the space. Tell us, man, what projects are y'all working on next?
So over at the bullpen, obviously we're neck deep in training camp, just like you are. I plan to be there on the 18th when they do the when they have the play with the Raiders and burgers with the owner. So that's my next chance to be at training camp. I love how you and the guys from what is that battle
Oh, fan
Man, I'm so
battle.
bad with words. I apologize. Fan battle. I feel like they're there every day, and I love it. I'm tuning in every chance I get because I think that's great content y'all put out. For us, every I believe it's every Thursday that we get together and we
Mhm.
talk about the latest and greatest. I imagine this Thursday we'll definitely sit down and talk about Jadeveon Clowney and Mario Edwards as well. Thanks so much for having me on to talk the Stros. I love all our Houston sports. I could sit down and talk for hours about the Dynamo, the Stros, the Texans, the Rockets, the whole nine. One last thing before I get up out of here. You
Mm.
talked about the AL being bad and if they get an ALCS, the East in the NBA was pretty bad last year. The Knicks made it out of that mess. They beat a team that a lot of people said had no business beating. I don't see any reason why the Stros can't do the same.
All right. Well, hey, you heard it here first, man. Listen, I am ready to get my big gumbo pot sized bowl of crow ready to go. I will. This is one of those people need to understand this, man. As media, as fans, right? We don't always want to be right. We can be super negative sometimes, overly critical, and it's a look. We want to be wrong sometimes. Like we don't want to be right, right? Like we can say something. I can tell you what I think is going to happen or not happen, but sometimes I'm like, I hope I'm wrong though. Like I hope the Astros prove me wrong, and the fact that they're playing their best baseball. What
They just won.
they swept? Okay, right on cue, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like Astros just swept. There you go. Right, breaking news. Astros just swept the Rangers. Cry about it, Texas. There you go. Eat it, proud Texans Rangers fan. No, man. So that's kind of the thing, man. So anyway, but we're gonna try to, keep going, keep being positive. To quote my guy, A. Woodhouse, Brett Chance, always positive, always shows, whatever. But yeah, man, listen, this has been Clayton Anderson with the excuse me, with the We Want Houston podcast, tour time side expert for the Fan Side Network. That has been third coach Tom, co-host of the Bullpen podcast with James Ward. Please check out this man's phenomenal work and what they do. They're representing Houston, Texas well. And yeah, man, listen, Clowney's home, Mario's home. Astros just swept. AL West is firmly in our grasp. All we got to do is keep on going. But I appreciate your time once again. And I'm finally going to get this outro right. Go Texans. See you guys at training camp tomorrow. Whoever goes, go Astros. Go all of Houston sports. You guys have a blessed rest of your Sunday. Take care.